Hey y'all, thank you for tuning in to my channel and thank you for tuning in on Instagram. I got this video idea from a good friend of mine named Jillian, and I was asking for people to send in content ideas, and she said, let's zoom in a little bit more. Can you do a coil versus bound video? And this is not like which one is better or anything like that. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of both, which one I prefer using, because you guys know I've used coil, I've used book bound. I've been in my book bound era this entire year. And so I'm just going to give you the pros and cons of both in case you're wondering, you know, which one should you get? Which one is right for you and everything. This is an Erin Condren. It was gifted to me last year from my friend Vanessa. And she's just so sweet. You know, I decorated in here. Why didn't I use this? I don't remember. Didn't use, oh, this is when I got into my wonton in a million. That is why. So there are some spreads in here that are not filled out at all. And that was the last time I stopped. But this is an Erin Condren. It goes all the way to December. And then this is a Hemlock and Oak, which I got a couple of weeks ago, which is currently the one that I'm using. And I will be pre-ordering one for 2025. If you hear some chewing, my dog is right here. Yes. Can you sit down? Can you lay down? Down. So I am not going to get into what bound is versus coil. I think we all know that. Okay. We're not here to figure out what the difference is. We all know what that is. So we're going to get into the pros of both of these. Okay. And the cons of both of these. And then I'm going to tell you which one I prefer and why. Okay. So the pros of the Hemlock, well, the pros of a bound planner. Okay. Easy to travel with. This is a lot easier to travel with than your coil because you don't have to worry about the binding getting messed up. You don't have to worry about which way you put it in there, in your bag or your backpack or whatever you're putting in there. And it's pretty even, so you're not going to have to worry about the bulk over here. So it doesn't matter which way you put it in, it's going to be even. All right. And also there's a ribbon. This one has a pretty generous ribbon. I remember Amanda's Favorites was talking about this. You get the ribbon, so it doesn't really bulk up the planner like a ruler does in here. Not saying that a ruler bulks up a planner a lot, but having the ribbon, you can put it in two different places. Like I have one on the monthly and one on the weekly. And some planners have three. You know, if you want to put one in the front, like if there's prompts to do in the front, you have three ribbons. So you do have that, and they color coordinate majority of the time. They don't take up any space. It's cheaper. Majority of the time, a bound planner is cheaper than a coil bound. Now, I understand that's going to vary depending on what company you buy from. But for the most part, a bound planner is cheaper than the coil because the coil is an added expense. And so the company is going to charge you more because it's coil. It's usually, bound planners are usually more neutral. They don't really have a lot of color in here. So like, you know, this is mainly, you know, black and white, gray and everything. Very, very neutral. It's very rare for a bound planner to have a whole bunch of color in it. So unlike the Erin Condren, even they're neutral, like they're, you know, still have some color. You know, there's color in here. You don't really have the option of not having color or anything like that. So if you want like a more professional looking, you know, planner, the bound planner is going to be for you. All right. Looks more luxurious. It does. It just, this looks like something, this planner specifically looks like something you can easily like put on your bookshelf. It just like, if you have it like this, it just looks really nice. You know, it doesn't, it's not, your eye is drawn to it in a way that's positive. Like, oh, wow, look at that. You know, and they're easy to stack. So if you have multiple bound planners, you can easily stack them like this. You don't have to worry about it looking lopsided or anything like that. And I already said easy to store, more professional. Lots of different sizes. I've noticed one thing with bound planners. There are so many different sizes. So I want to get into, oops, buddy. I want to get into, like, you have planners like Sterling Ink, you know, Sterling Ink has, this is a B6. There are a lot of different sizes for the Sterling Ink. Like, I want to say there's almost like 10 different sizes. And you really get that with bound planners. They give you a lot of options with sizes, and then a lot of times you have the same layout. You don't have to say, oh, I love the cover of that layout, of that planner, but I don't love the layout. You know, typically, like in Hemlock and Oak, it doesn't matter what cover you get, you are going to get the same guts. So that is one thing that I really love about the bound planners. All right, so let's talk about the pros of the Coil bound, okay? The Erin Condren. Customization, all right? With Erin Condren, you can see it has my name right here. A lot of times you can customize the covers like this. You can change the color of the design and the color of the background. I got this color for the background for obvious reasons. You guys know it's my favorite color. You can do customization on the Coil. Different companies with Coil bound have different, you see, buddy, hi. Have different rules when it comes to customization. Like Plum Paper has the most things you can do for customization and whatnot. So you do get that. Hi. Interchangeable covers for your Coil. You can really, you know, get lots of different covers. I know some other companies, you can have covers. I know Erin Condren fits with most Coil bound planners, and I really like Erin Condren's covers the best of all the Coil bound like planners out there. So whenever, like when I was using Plum Paper, I always got Erin Condren covers. And so you do have the option to change your cover out with the seasons, if that's your thing. And then you can, they all, buddy, okay. You can, they also have one with all the pictures on it, which is nice. You have the option to Frankenplan. If you're like, what is Frankenplanning? What does that mean? Frankenplanning is basically where people have taken the Coil off of here, and they may say, I want the colorful months, but I want the, you know, I want the neutral guts, and they do that. So like I was saying, you have the option to Frankenplan this. It's a little hard to do on Coil. You can do it easily on Discbound. We're not talking about Discbound. So you do have the option to put put what you want in your planner if you decide to go that route. And you get tabs on the Coil. So you always know where you are, you know, when it comes to each month and everything. And you don't get that on the bound. You have to buy them separately, but you do get the tabs. All right, so let's talk about the cons of the bound planner. You're stuck with the color. So I'm not a person, I used to be a person where I'm just like, oh my God, I want to change my cover. I'm not really like that anymore. So you're stuck with whatever color you get. So when you decide to buy a planner, I think it's important to make sure you choose a color you're not going to get tired of. So you're stuck with it, right? You can't fold it back on itself. You know, a lot of people just want to see like the first half of their week or the second half and, you know, just keep it very simple. But you can't do that at all with a bound planner. So think about that if you're thinking about buying a bound planner. Filling it with stickers could be a problem. Now with the Hemlock and Oak, I don't think the bound is going to be too bad unless I was really bulking it up with stickers. So you have to really think about that, like the cover possibly bowing if you fill this up with stickers, okay? Buddy, you're fine. He's growling at himself in the reflection. Oh my God. And there's no tabs. I did mention that there's no tabs for this. So, you know, you just have to, you know, get a ribbon, or they have repositionable tabs that you can put in here. All right, the cons for the Coil, the cost. You know, Erin Condren starts at like 60 bucks. By the time you customize it, if you want different Coil, if you want to add more note pages, it's gonna run you about 70, 80 bucks with the tax and shipping, all right? Harder to transport. It's harder to transport with this because of the Coil, and you don't want to bend the Coil, so you got to be careful of how you put it in there and everything. So think about that. It's also heavier. Company may not have your preferred Coil. Like, you know, with Laurel Denise, you know, you have the double O Coil. Same with, you know, Ashley Shelley. So you really have to think about, you know, do they have the type of, you know, Coil that you like. All right. And it's more to ship. It costs more money to ship a Coil bound planner than this sometimes, all right, because this costs $11. I can't remember how much Erin Condren costs to ship, but it's not exactly cheap, you know, so you have to think about that. So that is Coil versus bound, I'm pretty sure there was some stuff that I left out, not on purpose though. So if you're asking me which one I prefer, one, they're apples and oranges. I don't love one more than the other. I love the Erin Condren, you know, one for the paper. Okay, the paper is 80-pound paper. Same with Hemlock and Oak. But as far as where I'm at in this season of my life or whatever, I am all about book bound right now. If you would have told me last year that 2024 I would be a book bound girl, I wouldn't have believed you. But I love book bound. I just really think this is where I'm at. I love it. It's easy to store. It's easy to put in my planner tote. I don't have to, with Coil, I was having to turn one this way, turn one that way just to get it right. It lays flat, no problem. So I don't have an issue with, like, you know, it staying open or anything like that. I really love it. I love how neutral the pages are in a bound planner. And it's just, I'm really loving this right now. I never say never. I am never going to say I'm not going back to a Coil. I've learned in the planning community to never say never when it comes to things, you know, when you switch it up or go back or whatever. But I will be having a bound planner for 2025. Who knows? I may go back to an Erin Condren. You never know. Or any Coil bound. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But right now, I prefer the bound over the Coil just because it's just what I'm loving right now. All right. I don't like the Erin Condren any less. It's just that for this, I am just loving the bound. You know, I use bound for this. I have an Archer and Olive for journaling. I use a Sterling ink for wellness and everything. And so I really just love using bound planners. So that is my pros and cons of bound versus Coil. They're apples and oranges, but I hope with me stating the pros and cons of both, it may help you make a decision. Especially with us starting new planners in July. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.